So first, I just wanted to ask, how did you start working with Wise Readers to Leaders? How did you hear about it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an interesting story because I'm not your typical candidate for a job like this. My fiance, Jared, he is actually a big guy in the nonprofit world, and he right now is the COO of a nonprofit called the Los Angeles Railroad Heritage Foundation. And so one of his old bosses is friends with the boss at Wise Readers to Leaders. His old boss, Diane, is friends with Andrea, who's the owner or the creator of Wise Readers to Leaders, the head honcho. And she had told Diane, like, I'm looking for somebody. And Diane had reached out to Jared. And as Diane and Andrea were describing the job to Jared, my fiance, he was like, this, I already have a job and I'm really satisfied with it. And B, it's not really my thing. A summer camp with high schoolers and little kids. He's like, to be honest, this is a job for my fiance because I have worked with children a lot. My main job in the past and my side job right now is working for a company called the Imagination Machine, where we perform stories that the kids have written and that we perform for ages kindergarten to sixth grade. And I've had a lot of jobs that tend to involve kids around teenagers and then also around elementary school ages. So it kind of just naturally fell into my lap. I also was a cheerleader in high school, and Andrea was like, I really want it to be a fun summer camp vibe and, a lot of teamwork and a lot of team bonding. And that is totally my thing. Another one of my jobs I do is I run game shows for corporate events and stuff like that. And we do a lot of minute to win it games, a lot of team bonding things, and a lot of fun activities. So that is also part of my background. So I have a lot of performance background, a lot of children's performance background, and a lot of just event in general fun background. So when I was explained this job, I thought, what a perfect place for me to be. I love working with kids. I love the mission statement of Wise Readers to Leaders. I would love to be a part of this. And so that's how I kind of got involved.
Got it. That's so cool. I think it's really interesting how all of your interests kind of aligned and was able to point you in this direction, and you were able to find a job that you fit well with, and it matched your own personal interests. So you just mentioned that you love working with kids and that you were a cheerleader and you want to bring a enthusiastic vibe, I guess you could say, to the organization. And I was wondering, do you have any experience with education and that sort of aspect of, Wise Readers, or in general, literacy, or maybe a different topic? And, is that another thing that you're also really interested in?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. So the other job that I had done with, that I still actually do with children's theater, it's called the Imagination Machine. And our big mission statement is teaching kids how to write creatively. And one of the things that we do on top of going to schools and performing stories that the kids have already written is usually in the fall, we'll also go to the schools and perform workshops to teach all of the kind of basics of creative writing. And we have 3 or 4 different shows for all the different levels of different writing techniques. So we have our base, for the little kids of you're who, you're what, you're where, and that's it. And then the upper kids, we talk about conflict, and we talk about character motivation, and we talk about more of the nuanced stuff like that to help teach them creative writing. And then in the spring, we come back and we perform the stories that the kids have written, and it's always really fun. So that's kind of the main educational aspect of my life. But other than that, I did not go to school for teaching. I don't really have an education in that.
I know you joined, when was it? Was it March?
Yeah, like the beginning of March.
March. Cool.
Mhm.
So it's been a couple of months, and I was wondering, how has it been working with Wise Readers thus far? Have there been any challenges? Have there been any um, like successes or highlights? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's always hard starting a job. It's hard starting any job, right? And the coming into this job, there's so many different aspects to Wise Readers to Leaders. There's the remote reading, there's the math tutoring, there's the summer program, there's also the enrichment, there's also the
Right.
math tutoring Zoom sessions, and there's so many different arms of it. So getting my head around all of those was definitely a challenge for me. And I think I'm getting better and better at it. And now most of them have ended for the year. So my brain's a little more clear. But it's also been a fun challenge looking towards the summer program and being told like, oh, okay, well, we'll need this for this day. We'll need to come up with these types of exercises for this day. We'll need to have something here, something there, make sure that you go through the training and what what the JLLs can expect, the junior literacy leaders.
Right.
And it's a fun challenge because I've never seen this before. So I don't know what it looks like. And so creating all of this, but that's kind of what they say, right? Is sometimes it's better to start with a blank canvas than to paint over a painting that has already been painted.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's definitely a fun challenge to not know from the past what it is and what it looks like and how it goes and what normally happens, and to come in with a fresh set of eyes and have a general sense of how it's going to go
Mhm.
and give my own creative spin to it,
Yeah.
because I think there's kind of a chance for artistry in anything you do. And again, my experience as an events person, I look at this and I'm like, okay, great. I'm so excited to create kind of an arc and a symbiotic theme throughout this whole summer program so that everybody has the best time, still learns a lot, and still really feels fulfilled in their own personal goals for the summer program and all of the above.
Right, right. I definitely think that with starting anything new, it can be a challenge, but it's also like a fun experience and it just really kind of opens you up to new possibilities and new ideas. And so, yeah, I think that's definitely accurate. And I was wondering, I understand that this job as, program coordinator is a lot of work. There's a lot of moving pieces. Um, and I was wondering, how did you sort of manage that in the beginning when you were kind of just thrown into the middle of it and you were like, whoa, what's going on? How did you kind of navigate all of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I started, I had just accepted, I had just accepted and started rehearsals for a different project. And so they were like, well, we need to start you next week. And I was like, oh, okay, but I've got rehearsals and a show that's going to be happening through March and April. And I can definitely do this with that, but it's a challenge. So it was time wise, it was definitely a challenge where my days were super full. I was doing a melodrama performance at Knott's Berry Farm, and we have 5 shows a day. And so our first show would be at 2, and I would get there at noon, and I would do some Wise Readers to Leaders work, and then I'd go do a show, and then I'd come back, and then I'd do some more work, and then our next show is at 3:45. I'd do a show, I'd come back. And so in between all of our show breaks, I was, figuring out where all the folders were, making sure that emails were going out on time, and making sure that I was keeping up with the progress that needed to be made with the summer program. I was not the best at it. It definitely took me a little bit longer, but it's just kind of how the timing worked. They needed somebody right now. I had already agreed to a different project. And so I just kind of had to do all of it at once and
Mhm.
slowly figure it out. But yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that definitely seems like a lot to handle, but so far you've been doing so great. So, um, of course. Um, and then also, have like, um, is there anything that you've particularly enjoyed about your job and working at Wise Readers? Like, do you like particularly like a certain program that it has, or like maybe it's working with the kids, or maybe it's planning new ideas, whatever that might be?
Yeah, I think that's such a great question. I also will add on to my last question that the other like big key element to helping me figure it out was Riley, who's the
Mhm.
woman above me. She
Right.
is so kind and so patient with all my questions, and she's very quick to respond to my numerous emails that I sent her. So that was also a very, very big help. And as far as my favorite part of the program right now, I think it's hard because I've only had one teen meeting where I've gotten to meet the teens in person. And
Yeah.
that was when Giselle was still here. So it was the transition of Giselle leaving and me coming in.
Hmm.
And so I have one more at the end of May. And I think also then meeting all of the scholars and the JLLs and starting the summer program will be this completely different feeling. But right now it's just all been on a computer and, not seeing people's faces, but seeing their names at the top of the email and seeing black and white writing. And
Right.
so it's funny because I think there's so much rewarding feelings yet to come and um, so many different relationships to be made and to
Mhm.
see people's faces and to interact. I think that will be the most rewarding part. But as far as my small view of it has been up until now, I enjoy every part of it. But I think the part I've enjoyed the most is receiving people's reading requests and seeing what books they're reading with their scholars and
Mhm.
just going through and just reading the captions of all the books or the summaries of all the books. And yeah, knowing that everybody's reading that together is so fun to just know that. And then also the little bit that I've gotten to see by hosting the math tutoring on Tuesdays, getting to see all the scholars come in ready to learn and seeing all of the tutors that come in ready to teach. It was really, really a wonderful, powerful thing.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I think like there's definitely a lot in store coming up, so that's super exciting.
Mhm.
And like just seeing people in person and like getting to experience that. And I mean, COVID and Zoom has really affected a lot, so that'll be a really nice like reprieve and change of direction. Yeah, so I guess yeah, what has it been like working with the teens so far?
Honestly, it's been such a lovely surprise at how on top of it everybody is and how responsible everybody is. Because I remember when I was in high school and similar to now, I was doing a million things at once. It was, making sure that I was a cheerleader and also in the drama club and also on ASB and also having all of these extracurricular activities and making sure that I was in choir. And so similar to now to my life now, I wanted to make sure I had every little chunk of my life filled with time. And I don't think that these teens have any less responsibilities. In fact, I think they have even more responsibilities and they take on so much. And still, they're very on top of it. They find the time to read with their remote readers and they find the time to show up for Zoom math tutoring on Tuesdays and they respond to my emails so promptly. One of the things that we have for our team board is they're in charge of some of the interviews for new JLLs and how quickly they handle it and they log everything and upload it is so incredible. They crank it out and everybody is always so quick to respond. And I am always wonderfully surprised at how responsible everybody is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like it's part of like the environment that Wise Readers creates is just very like welcoming and inviting. And I feel like as a teen myself, like it's no burden to you know, help out with the organization and volunteer, and it's enjoyable, of course. So not, not like an obligation at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then, like, what is your plan moving forward, for Wise Readers? Do you have anything like that you're trying kind of like toying with, whether it be with like the programs or the summer camp? Do you have anything new ideas that you're generating?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I'm still really honored to be a part of this program, and I'm really excited to move into the summer program, do the summer program, witness the summer program, and then move into August and September and starting the year-round activities from that end of things, and creating all of the documents and the sign-up forms, and then signing everybody up, creating the lists, all of that fun stuff.
Right.
I'm really excited to just be a part of Wise Readers to Leaders and really kind of see everything and understand everything and soak it all in. And me personally, I don't have any new plans or anything radical to change up for the summer or for the next year program. Although I will say I pitched Imagination Machine as a wonderful idea for, there's the Fridays with like the fun activity Fridays.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, I think that would actually be a really fun activity if at the beginning of the week we could do stories that the kids have written and then submit them to my company of actors and then have them come and perform the stories for the kids, because I think there's something really, really powerful about that, especially in Los Angeles, where the movie industry and the television industry is so prominent. There's something about seeing your work be performed and up on its feet that really gives you this sense of accomplishment. And it's really hounded in Los Angeles of like, yeah, that is achievement. And I think that would be a really wonderful thing to continue to encourage within the kids, because there really is an industry for creative writing right around them in Los Angeles that is very lucrative. And if they can tap into that at a young age, what a wonderful thing to encourage.
Yeah, totally. I think it's like super powerful to like kind of like have your work become kind of like its own entity and like become like alive through performance and through like combining like 2D with 3D, and like I think that would be super cool.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so those are actually all of my questions.
awesome.
Um, Thank you again for taking the time to meet with me. It was a pleasure.
Of course.
Um, do you have any questions for me?
No, I just wanted to thank you so much, Ruby. You have done so much for Wise Readers to Leaders, and I am so grateful that you are a part of the team. And I truly, you make my job easier. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for just being so awesome.
Thank you. All right. Have a nice rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Ruby. You too.
Bye.